Hello everybody, and welcome to the Atari Retrospective series. This is a series where I'll be covering the development and gameplay of every game released for the Atari 2600 in release order. Alongside the development and gameplay, I'll also be including my review of my time with the game. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you to today's game, which is Blackjack. Blackjack was one of the 9 original launch titles for the Atari video computer system in 1977, developed internally at Atari. The console itself was a major leap, designed to play multiple games via interchangeable cartridges, something revolutionary at the time. Behind the scenes, the game was programmed by Bob Whitehead, one of Atari's earliest and most prolific engineers. Whitehead was known for squeezing complex functionality out of incredibly limited hardware. Blackjack was one of his earliest creations and a technical puzzle. The Atari 2600 had only 128 bytes of RAM. That's not kilobytes, that's not megabytes, that's 128 bytes, about enough to store a single tweet. And yet, Whitehead managed to implement a complete card game, including AI, chip management, betting, and turn-based play, all within those constraints. He built a lightweight system to handle randomized card drawing, betting logic, and basic dealer behavior, using tricks like register juggling and custom memory layouts just to get it all working. Visually, Blackjack is bare bones, even by Atari standards. The cards are just alphanumeric characters. There are no suits, no animations, and no background music. But the simplicity wasn't laziness, it was necessity. The Atari 2600 had severe graphical and memory limitations, and Blackjack had to reserve most of its limited space for game logic rather than visuals. Sound is minimal too. There's no crowd noise, no wind jingle, just brief tones when cards are dealt or bets are placed. And yet, what the game lacks in flair, it makes up for in clarity. Everything you need to know, your hand, the dealer's card, your bet, is on screen, easy to read, and responsive. Whitehead managed to deliver a working simulation of a turn-based card game, a genre that typically involves lots of state tracking, conditional logic, and randomness, all within the confines of a 2K cartridge and rudimentary display system. The controls for Blackjack were handled through the paddle controllers, not the joystick. These paddles were typically used for games like Breakout and Warlords, but for Blackjack, they work surprisingly well for scrolling through betting amounts and choosing actions. Before a hand begins, players use the dial to place a bet between 1 and 25 chips, pressing the red button to confirm. During the hand, you navigate between hit, stand, and double down in the same way. This rotary control made menu navigation feel more analog, and despite occasional sensitivity issues, especially with worn paddles, it gave players a tactile sense of control over their wagers and decisions. Gameplay in Blackjack is straightforward, but surprisingly faithful to real-life rules. Each player starts with 200 chips, and the goal is to hit 1,000 chips or lose it all. The game supports up to 3 players, taking turns one at a time against a single computer dealer. Each hand begins with a bet. Once placed, the game deals 2 cards to the player and 1 visible card to the dealer. Cards are displayed using letter and number combinations like K for King, A for Ace, and numbers 2 through 10. On your turn, you can hit to receive another card, stand to end your turn, or double down, which doubles your original bet and gives you exactly 1 more card. The dealer's behavior is fully automated. The AI always hits on 16 or less and stands on 17 or more, just like in traditional Blackjack. There's no bluffing, no randomness beyond the shuffle, just a strict algorithm following house rules. Interestingly, aces automatically count as 1 or 11 depending on which gives the player a better hand. This auto adjustment was a smart choice, avoiding the need for players to manually toggle their ace values, a convenience that most modern digital Blackjack games still follow today. Winning or losing a hand, adjust your chip count accordingly. If you hit 1,000 chips, you win the game. If you drop to 0, it's game over. Now that I've covered the development and gameplay, it's time to get into my review. Similar to the last review, I'm going to judge this game based on 3 criteria: design, controls, and modes. If I didn't break down the game this way, then I'd just be giving my review on the card game Blackjack. We're first going to start with the design, which as already mentioned in this video, is bare bones. The visuals are very simple, which feels like both a positive and a negative. The simplicity prevents any confusion from happening, but it also helps the player lose interest really fast. The cards look like cards, which I know sounds ridiculous, but there's not much else to say about them. The one positive thing I can say is the green background did give a small illusion that I was playing at a real casino table. The audio is even worse than the visuals because there barely is any. The little bit of audio we do have is fine, but nothing spectacular. Next, I would like to cover the controls of the game, which I personally really enjoyed. I don't really understand why they felt the need to use the paddles, but I'm really glad they did. The paddles make it feel a little more luxurious, which really helps sell the whole gambling shtick. I never had any issues with overshooting or undershooting my selections, but I also was playing on brand new paddles. Overall, I really enjoyed the paddles, but I can't see how this game justifies having to buy a whole separate controller to play it. Lastly, I'm going to cover the two modes the game offers, which are casino rules and private rules. These really boil down to normal and hard difficulty, with casino being normal and private being hard. They have minor differences, such as ties being won by the dealer in private, but ties having no effect on score in casino. In my experience with the game, private was really brutal, and both myself and my girlfriend had lost within 8 minutes. The dealer kept getting blackjacks and constantly beat us even if we had good hands. It just felt impossible to try and win. However, I had the exact opposite experience in casino. Casino felt very fair with equal wins and losses, which resulted in a lot of fun. It truly felt random, and not like the dealer was destined to win. The only unique game aspect there is to comment on is the double mechanic. This is a mechanic where if your dealt hand equals 10 or 11, you can double your bet with the restriction of only being able to hit once. It resulted in some interesting rounds, and because it doesn't happen often, resulted in some very exciting moments. Blackjack delivers on exactly what you would want gameplay-wise out of a Blackjack video game. However, due to the limited hardware, the visuals and audio are massively lacking. The visuals could have used a bit of flair by adding more to the background, such as chips to the side of the player space. My only complaint with the audio is the lack of background music. Music definitely would have gone a long way. Overall, I'm going to give Blackjack a 5 out of 10. I really enjoy the gameplay loop of Blackjack, but I just wish it could have had a little bit more flair. That's it for this episode of the Atari Retrospective, but there's still 521 games left. So, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you can catch the next episode. In the comments, let me know what your favorite Atari 2600 game is or your favorite memory about the console. And hopefully, I'll catch you in the next one.